Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Prabhupada Lilamrita by Satguru Das Goswami. Prabhupada was in Hawaii uh, dealing with different issues and writing his purports. And further, Maharaj says, Prabhupada wanted to first visit his Los Angeles center. So from Hawaii also he had to leave. Now a large, thriving community of devotees. He would see the new temple room with its marble arches and gallery of gorgeous transcendental paintings and observe the opulent worship of the deities Rukmani Dwarkadish. And definitely, the worship there in Los Angeles is really opulent. They have a beautiful temple. He would see the latest technological applications of Krishna consciousness at Golden Avatar Recording Studios and at the Fate Museum, which utilized multimedia dioramas to depict the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know the full form of Fate Museum, but once, when I was in Delhi, I would go to America every year. So once I visited Los Angeles also. And the devotees there, the brahmachari who was in charge of this Fate Museum, and he saw me. He said, "Oh, Prabhu, come, let me show you our museum. Very high-tech light and sound show on Bhagavad Gita." I said, "Okay, let me see it." So he was very enthusiastic, and he showed me. I think while we were inside or when we came out, he asked me, "So what do you do? Where do you serve?" I told him I'm the director of Vedic Expo at ISKCON Delhi. He was like, "Gosh, that museum is like 100 times better than ours. You didn't say anything." I said, "Well, this was done by devotees and they did a good job, but obviously Vedic Expo is much, much better." So, but devotees, I mean, in 1970s, they did this Fate Museum. They did an amazing job. And Detroit also, um, they did put together one museum. Actually, all these places, they require maintenance, regular technical maintenance and upgradation all the time. And which definitely requires lots of money. So, so not possible until you're getting so many visitors. It's not possible to maintain these places. Just like if you know Disney World and Disneyland, they do create so many shows and maintain them 24 hours. Maintenance crew is out there if anything breaks down, and they have to create new shows. But they have so much of footfall, they make so much of money that they can afford to make new shows and to maintain the old ones. But these museums in our temples, they are good, but as I said, it requires lots of efforts to maintain them. He would sit in his garden and hear Krishna book and walk on Venice Beach discussing scientific theories with Dr. Swarup Damodar. So Venice Beach is not far from our LA temple. And Prabhupada would walk on that beach and discuss theories. And of course, he would increase the already swelling waves of book distribution. One day in the car, he had said, and this is very important instruction for all of us. He said, "My books will be law books for human society for the next 10,000 years. My books will be the law books for human society for the next 10,000 years." Means till the Kali Yuga really takes effect. Because till the golden period is here, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has blessed, Prabhupada's books will really change the world. And for that, there are many things we have to do. First, like Krishna told Arjun, that this knowledge that he gave to sun god Vivaswan in the beginning of creation, he said, but it was the beginning of the day of Brahmaji, the knowledge was lost. And now I'm giving it to you, almost like so many years later, millions of years later. So knowledge was lost because many reasons. First, parampara was broken. People were not interested in the knowledge. They started adding, they were deleting their own ways and not really following. So then the knowledge, the real knowledge gets lost. So it's important for us to study these books, understand the philosophy, and of course to distribute these books so others also can understand. So the knowledge remains intact. Then in Detroit, he would stay for a few days in the mansion he had purchased over a year ago to see how the devotees were taking care of the fabulous gift Krishna had given them and to advise them on how to use it as a showpiece of Krishna consciousness. For himself, Prabhupada was not interested in living in a mansion, and constant traveling proved difficult, regardless of where he stayed. The mansions, the opulence, the American money and expertise were all for Krishna's pleasure. Yeah, he stayed in the mansion, stayed in wonderful LA temple, but he was not attached. Only thing he was attached to was how to serve Krishna and how to expand this movement. From Detroit, Prabhupada would go to Toronto, where a year ago he had encouraged the devotees and the Indian community to purchase a big church in the city. Now, in the recent months, they had actually purchased it and they were awaiting Prabhupada's arrival. He would also travel to New Vrindavan, where for 2 years the devotees had been anxiously awaiting his return. They wanted him to sit on the grand new Vyasasana they had carved for him, to behold the deities of Radha, Vrindavan, Chandra, and to grace the palace they were building for him. To grace the palace, it's actually called the Palace of Gold. So they have, and devotees themselves, they built it. It's not like they hired some contractor, they themselves built it. And on the carvings which they did, they put the gold leafing on that carving, on the whole building. It's really a marvelous structure. And the devotees there, under the guidance of Kirtanand Maharaj, they wanted to offer it to Prabhupada whenever he would come there. Of course, it wasn't finished before Prabhupada left, but still, Prabhupada obviously accepted it. The devotees really worked hard on that palace of gold. And outside the palace, there's a nice garden with roses, bushes, and other flowers. New Vrindavan gets very, very cold, but in the summertime, all those flowers they come up and it's very fragrant. It's nice, hilly area with valleys. It's a beautiful place. Earlier, um, when there were so many devotees living there. Now also they have many devotees, but not that many, and they had Goshala with cows giving. Um, it's American cows or Jersey cows, they say. So once Prabhupada was there, and the cow, her udder was full of milk, and Prabhupada touched her udder, and the picture is there in the archives. His eyes became big, like so much of milk, and he asked the devotee, how much milk does she give? I think they said 40 liters. That's lots of milk. He would drink the milk of the new Vrindavan cows and teach about Varnashram Dharma. He would praise the simple life and blast away at the follies of urbanized, industrialized civilization. But unfortunately, this is really unfortunate. When Prabhupada was there, he was encouraging and inspiring everybody uh, to make progress, to stay, maintain their sadhana, or maybe make it better. Prabhupada is Prabhupada. He was not at all attached to any property or money or anything. But we have to see ourselves. When we get into bhakti and we get some success, Krishna will definitely give some success. How much we get attached to the material things and thinking that this is mine, whether it is power, position, money, followers, whatever it is, or the fame. Krishna has six opulences, we know that. Name, or the fame and the beauty and the opulence or Aishwarya, knowledge, and above all, renunciation. He's not at all attached. We get just a fragment of that, just a tiny spark, and we get bewildered. But Prabhupada did not get bewildered. He was not at all attached. This, what he showed by his example, that this we have to love, we have to follow. Somehow, in the name of, oh, I'm doing service, and in the name of preaching, we start accepting all these things. Acceptance is not bad, but how much we get attached depends on that. For the 4th of July 1976, the bicentennial anniversary of the United States independence. So the United States got independent in 1776. So 200 years later, 1976, Srila Prabhupada would be at the ISKCON temple in Washington, D.C., where he would hold kirtan at the monuments before millions of people. Because ISKCON used to, not anymore, take out Rath Yatra because there is a 4th of July parade in Washington, D.C. So we used to do a Rath Yatra in the middle of the parade. The art would be one of the exhibits, and devotees would be there singing kirtan, and thousands of people would be watching the parade. And after that, um, in a very big lawn or garden, there were different organizations. They would have set up their booths, and ISKCON would have a very big booth with free prasadam. And because so many visitors are there, you cannot just give like dal, chawal, or khichdi, something like that. So they would have dry prasadam. So fruits and what they call healthy bars, or so those healthy bars, I don't know exactly the name of the guru. Devotees would prepare for weeks and weeks together in the temple. Every day, devotees, congregation would gather and they were preparing those bars for to be distributed in Rath Yatra. And the fruit cut-up would go on. It was amazing. I have attended once, I attended that. And so much of prasadam distribution goes on. And ISKCON camp is popular for that. So people would come from everywhere and they would get free that bar and fruits. And I think something else also they serve, I'm forgetting. But so much of prasadam distribution goes on. So Srila Prabhupada would be at the ISKCON temple in Washington, D.C., where he would hold kirtan at the monuments before millions of people. And on July 6 in Washington, he would observe the 10th anniversary of the formation of ISKCON. Then he would go to New York for that city's first full-scale Rath Yatra. He would stay in the newly acquired ISKCON skyscraper and 12-story building in Midtown Manhattan. So full-scale Rath Yatra, and that too on Fifth Avenue, which is of Manhattan, most prestigious road. All the big offices, they are there in the buildings on Fifth Avenue. And that Rath Yatra still goes on, attended by thousands and thousands. Srila Prabhupada had sometimes said his greatest fear was that his disciples would fight with one another, causing serious splits in his movement. Therefore, he traveled using his great influence to unite all elements. He had seen how even those to whom he had given great responsibility could again become victims of sense gratification. But he had also seen how his being with his disciples strengthened them. So yes, that fear was there, and unfortunately, to some extent, it came true. We just cannot hold ourselves, cannot keep ourselves from sense gratification. He was declaring humanity's dependence on God, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and making a forceful revolution against the prevailing decadence of the day. Although America, in her 200th anniversary, was abandoning her God consciousness, La Prabhupada's ISKCON was fresh and vital, instilling pure God consciousness in America and everywhere. The cover of the latest issue of Back to Godhead, which Prabhupada liked, depicted a devotee singing Hare Krishna in front of a red, white, and blue bicentennial exhibit. The cover caption read, "Declaring our dependence on God." So, not declaring independence, declaring our dependence on God, which really means independence, independence from material energy. So red, white, and blue, that is the color of American flag. It's famous as red, white, and blue. Prabhupada had complete confidence in the eventual victory of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. Although now 80 years old, he was the leader, the strongest devotee. Wherever he traveled, he brought life and strength, and so he continued. New York City, July 9, 1976. Jayanand was driving the car. Tamal Krishna Swami and Rameshwar Swami were also there. They had picked up Srila Prabhupada and Harishauri at LaGuardia Airport, and as they proceeded towards Manhattan, Prabhupada asked, "Things are going on here nicely." Tamal Krishna replied that everything had really just begun. "You'll see that all of the work is just in progress," he said. "Yes," said Prabhupada, "manage nicely. Krishna is giving us everything. There is no scarcity. If we simply, sincerely work, Krishna will give us intelligence, everything. By his mercy, everything is available. That is Krishna. He can give you anything. Yes, what is lacking for Krishna? Nothing. But it all depends on our sincerity. As the car approached a colossal Brooklyn Bridge, Srila Prabhupada inquired, "That is Brooklyn Bridge, I think. Sometimes I was coming here and sitting down near the bridge, near the water," asked Tamal Krishna. They were fascinated to hear of Srila Prabhupada's early activities alone in New York. He was sitting near the water. "Yes, that river," said Prabhupada, "because I was on that Bowery Street. It's not very far away. So I was coming, walking there and sitting under that bridge and thinking, when I shall return to India." Aren't we happy he didn't go back to India, although he was not getting that success in the beginning. He laughed. He asked about other places, almost like inquiring about old friends, the Fulton Street subway station and Chambers Street. Tamal Krishna told Prabhupada that the ISKCON center was not far from the Empire State Building and that he would be able to get a nice view of it from his room on the 11th floor. "Our building," said Tamal Krishna, "is right in the midst of the theater, restaurant, and entertainment section of the city." In New York, said Prabhupada, I feel a little at home because first I came here. I was loitering on the street here and there. From 1965 September to July 1967, continually I stayed in New York. So almost 2 years he continuously stayed in New York. And we have read how he tried, he preached, he transformed the hearts of hippies, tolerated so many things, tolerated the weather also. Wasn't easy for him. Tamal Krish Maharaj gave a class this morning, said Rameshwar Swami. He was explaining that we cannot understand the good fortune of the city that you have come here. Yes, when I decided that I shall go to a foreign country, said Prabhupada, I never thought of going to London. I thought of coming here. Generally, they go to London, but I thought, no, I shall go to New York. Very progressive, Tamal Krishna commented. I do not know, Prabhupada laughed. It is Krishna's dictation. I could have gone. London was nearer, but I thought, no, I shall go to New York. Sometimes I was even dreaming that I had gone to New York. So from Delhi, and we know how how he was struggling in Delhi, came to New York. And once Prabhupada said, it was funny. He said, my Guru Maharaj sends disciples to London, and they failed in London in preaching. So Prabhupada said, well, then I thought, if I have to fail, let me fail in New York. Why I should fail in London? As I passed through various neighborhoods, Srila Prabhupada recalled the old days. He mentioned Dr. Mishra's yoga studio and his room at 172nd Street, where his tape recorder and typewriter had been stolen. The West End superette, where he would buy fruit. Sometimes I think I was coming to this part, said Prabhupada, looking out the window, aimlessly, yes, sometimes walking on 2nd Avenue. Acknowledging his senior disciple, who was steadily and silently driving the car, Prabhupada said, oh, Jayananda was driving a taxi and chanting Hare Krishna. And one day he brought me $5,000. It was given for the publishing of the Bhagavad Gita, but I think Macmillan took it. Then you put him in charge to sell all the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, said Tamal Krishna. I remember. Didn't sell too many books, though, said Jayananda. Prabhupada laughed, while Jayananda remained silent, intent on task of driving through the city. I thought he was the best, most appropriate person to drive you, said Tamal Krishna. He was chanting and driving, said Prabhupada. Very good boy. As I weaved through Manhattan traffic, a taxi driver shouted at them. What does it say? What does he say? Asked Prabhupada. He said, you have a nice car, said Tamal Krishna. That's good. They like the car. Prabhupada laughed, asked him, why don't you come here? Why are you driving a taxi? Come join us. This car is a Ford company's version of a Cadillac, said Rameshwar. They cannot understand because we say we are not after material opulence for ourselves. They cannot understand why we drive in these cars. They think that we unnecessarily criticize, said Prabhupada, but we require everything. Just like a man, when he's alive, his decoration, his nice wares, everything is good. But if he is dead, then it is useless. Similarly, without spiritual consciousness, we are dead because the body is dead. Only because the spirit soul is there, therefore it is moving. The important point is the spirit soul. So if you are simply taking care of the body nicely, this means that you are decorating the dead body. What's the value of it? Is it clear? So I don't know if details are given about Jayananda Prabhu because his name is mentioned here. I just wanted to tell you about Jayananda Prabhu. Wonderful, 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 very humble devotee. He was a mechanical engineer by profession, but then he met the devotees and I don't think he had a job or something, so he just joined the temple. And he would drive taxi at night. And whatever money he would get by driving taxi, he would give it to the temple. And the whole day he was serving in the temple. He was fixing cars, he was cleaning the temple, taking out the garbage. And the most important service that he did was building the chariot for Lord Jagannath, Rath Yatra. I think the New York chariot was built by him. And he used mechanical engineering because we read about the canopy. So he built the canopy which could be raised and lowered depending upon the road situation. So whole day he was building the chariot and he was taking help of different devotees. Even Jayapatak Maharaj, he said, when he had just come to the temple and he saw Jayanand Prabhu, he was building the chariot. Nails, hammering, cutting woods and this and that. And he asked Jayapatak Maharaj, whatever his name was at that time before initiation, to come and help him in putting the nails. And Jayapatak Maharaj went and afterwards Jayanand Prabhu said, oh, he's a very good boy. He holds the nails very nicely. Jayapatak Maharaj, what little service I did, and he was even appreciative of that. And when Jayananda Prabhu was in California, I believe in San Francisco or LA, and he would again he would just do menial services, although he was a temple president. And he would go out and collect fruits and vegetables from different vendors. And his passing away is also very glorious. But after he passed away, devotees went to collect fruits and vegetables from vendors. And there was that market was actually controlled by mafia. And the mafia boss, the vendors send the devotees to mafia boss. They said, just go to him, he'll give you. And mafia boss, when he heard Jayanand Prabhu had passed away, he started crying. And he used to call him Johnny Ananda, not Jayananda. That's what he said he was my best friend. And can you imagine? Mafia boss and Jayananda Prabhu even transformed his heart. And he said, just take whatever fruits and vegetables you need for his memorial service, whatever you're doing, just take. Whatever you need, just take. And Jayananda Prabhu, he was detected with cancer, very last stages of cancer. And he was in the hospital. And even in the hospital, he was preaching to the doctors and the other patients. Devotees would go and he would be not sitting at his bed, he would be just going to different patients and preaching to them. And whatever money he got from the insurance for his medical treatment, and when he just gave it to Prabhupada for books printing. And he died, he left his body when Prabhupada was still here. And Prabhupada got the letter. I think Prabhupada was in Vrindavan when Dayananda Prabhu left his body. And Prabhupada did tell that he went back to God. Because he did so much of service, selfless service. And because of his service for Rath Yatra, building the chariots, Prabhupada had ordered, although we don't follow it everywhere, in America we follow it. Prabhupada ordered, his picture should be hanged on every chariot whenever Rath Yatra happens. His picture should be there. In America they follow it. His picture is put on the chariot. This is how important Prabhupada understood his service for Lord Jagannath was. And once, I believe it was in New York only, or maybe some other city, he built the chariots. All the three chariots were there in the lawn. Next day was a Rath Yatra, and that night there was a big storm, and the chariot tops were broken by the storm. And he, after or during the storm or after the storm was over, he himself get on and he just fixed all the chariots, and the chariots were ready to roll in the morning. He just didn't sleep at all, just fixing the chariots. That was his mood of service. And then this is why Prabhupada instructed every Rath Yatra, his picture should be hanged on the chariot. See, devotees have done amazing service for Prabhupada, amazing amount of service. And this is how we please Prabhupada. And once we please Prabhupada, Krishna definitely is happy. And like I heard Bhakti Charu Maharaj saying, but I don't know whether it came from Prabhupada or exactly or not. But I mean, the sentiment is same. Bhakti Charu Maharaj once said in his lecture that he was speaking to somebody, he said, you have had millions of lifetimes before this life. And if you want, after this life also, you can have millions of lifetimes to enjoy, to do whatever. Why not give one lifetime to Krishna? What's the harm? What's the loss? I mean, if you have millions of dollars, you can give $1 to Krishna. So millions of lifetimes. Let's give one life to Krishna. And we'll not be at loss. Definitely not. Krishna also promises that in Gita. Prabhupada also promises. And if we give this lifetime to Krishna, then definitely we're not getting any more lifetimes afterwards. Just one life. And how many years are left in this life? Maybe 10, 15, 20 at the most. So where is the loss? And while giving this life to Krishna, while sincerely serving him and Prabhupada, there's so much of happiness. It's not like we will be miserable. There's so much of happiness. So where is the loss? And Krishna also says, I protect you have and I provide what you lack in Bhagavad Gita. The only thing is you just surrender. So there is no loss at all. All we have to do is just sincerely try to serve him, serve Prabhupada, follow his instructions. And that's it, live our life happily. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Very nice class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mata.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mata. Chalo, you all have safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Jai Shri